Hello, girls and boys. Have you met Tom and Jerry? You must have seen them lots of times in the movies. Now you're going to meet Tom the cat and Jerry the mouse on record. Hey, Tom, say hello. Hello? And now, Jerry, you say hello.
Hello.
This is the story of Tom and Jerry at the circus. You can come along, too. Just follow the pictures in the book. Are you ready? Jerry was fast asleep in his mouse hole behind the wall in the dining room of the big house. It was late in the morning, but Jerry was very tired because all evening, while the family was out, Tom, the big cat, had chased him through the house with a vacuum cleaner. It seems that Jerry had been having a nightcap of cheese when all of a sudden Tom bounced around a chair and tried to catch him in the long hose of the vacuum cleaner. Jerry's nightcap of cheese was sucked right out of his hands, and he ran as fast as he could. Around the room they went, knocking over a lamp and upsetting a tray of glasses. Just as Tom was about to catch him, the plug pulled out of the socket. But Tom plugged it in again, and the chase went on and on and on until Jerry ran under the bed. He was safe under the bed, for no vacuum cleaner ever goes there. So you see, the little mouse slept late to rest up after such a strenuous evening. And he dreamed of a land where houses are made of cheese and where cats are as small and as harmless as butterflies. Suddenly he woke up. He thought he heard music.
It sounds like a circus band.
Jerry stuck his nose out of the hole, and then his face, and then his two front feet. And finally he came out. Only his tail was left in the hole, but Jerry always left his tail behind. Then he ran quickly across the room and out the back door to the street. The music really was a circus band. Jerry ran behind the man with a big tuba and tried hard to keep in step. He had to be careful, for a mouse in the middle of the street attracts more attention than a policeman, a dog catcher, or even a fire engine. All this time, Jerry was so busy keeping in step that he never stopped to look behind him. If he had, he would have seen Tom the cat also marching with the circus band. The circus was laid out in a green field, and Jerry thought he had never seen anything so wonderful as that circus. The big tents were up, and flags were flying from the tent poles. The peanut vendors' whistles were whistling, and the barker was shouting. People were just everywhere. Jerry ran toward the big tent where all the animals were resting before the performance. He crawled under the tent, and nobody noticed him as he ran along past the cages and the popcorn stands, stopping every few inches to look at the wonderful circus. When he came to the big animals in their cages, he slowed down and strolled very importantly past them. As he walked by, a polar bear opened one eye to look at him. And a kangaroo put her hands in her pocket. A saucy monkey threw a peanut shell at him. And an aardvark was spelling his name to himself as Jerry walked by. A-R-D, no, A-A-D-R-V, A-A-R-D-V-A-R-K. Jerry also saw a penguin sitting on an ice cube, and a great rhinoceros trying to see around his horn. Oh, it really was a wonderful circus. Meanwhile, Tom thought of a very clever plan to catch Jerry the Mouse. He hurried over to the cages where the lions and tigers lay sleeping. He knocked loudly on the cage where Leo, the biggest lion, was snoozing comfortably beside little Leo, a very small lion, no bigger than Tom. Wake up, Tom shouted. There's a mouse in the tent, and he got in free.
A mouse in the tent?
Growled Leo.
And he got in free?
Yes, said Tom. Will you help me catch him?
We'll help you,
roared Leo the lion. So all the big cats joined Tom, lions and tigers and leopards, a black panther, a jaguar, and 2 mountain lions. All the big cats in the circus followed Tom, who was only an alley cat. Through the big tent they went, causing all sorts of commotion. Just then, Jerry saw all those cats coming after him.
Where did all those cats come from?
For he was so frightened he almost swallowed his whiskers. He ran as fast as he could across the tent with Tom and all the lions and tigers and leopards, the jaguar, the black panther, and the 2 mountain lions right after him. Jerry the Mouse ran on and on, dodging in and out of the circus wagons until he came to a large elephant kraal where the elephants were waiting for the show to begin. Jerry ran so fast that before he knew where he was going, he had stepped right on the toe of a huge gray elephant named Eloise.
Ouch! Who stepped on my toe?
I did, but I didn't mean to.
You better watch where you're going,
Eloise said,
so that you don't go round stepping on people's toes. Suppose now that I were to step on your toe. How would you like that?
Jerry shivered at the thought of Eloise's big foot on his.
I'm very sorry. Isn't there something I can do to make up for stepping on your toe?
Yes,
Eloise said thoughtfully.
As a matter of fact, there is. This morning, when the children were feeding me peanuts, somebody put a walnut in my trunk. It stuck there, and I haven't been able to eat a thing since. Now, you look small enough to climb into my trunk and get the walnut out.
I'd be glad to.
For Jerry was always glad to help out an elephant. So Eloise lowered her trunk to the grass. And Jerry hopped on quickly. He peeked into the long trunk. It was very dark inside. He crawled in cautiously, for he had never been inside an elephant's trunk before. It grew darker and darker and darker and darker. He wished he had worn his cap with a light on it. Once he slipped, and it tickled Eloise so that she almost sneezed. All of a sudden, he bumped into the walnut. He tugged hard at it, but it wouldn't move. And he pulled, and he pulled, and he grunted. And still it wouldn't move. Then he nibbled round the edges of the walnut. And then he tugged some more, and the walnut came loose and rolled with Jerry out of Eloise's trunk onto the grass.
Thank you, oh, thank you,
sighed Eloise gratefully. You've done me a great favor, and I forgive you for stepping on my toe. Jerry felt very proud. Indeed, he felt so proud as he danced around that if he hadn't been watching, he might have stepped on Eloise's toe again.
Are Tom and all those lions and tigers chasing you?
Eloise asked.
Yes, and they're gonna catch me too.
Oh, no, they aren't,
said Eloise.
You did me a favor, now I'll do one for you.
And with that, Eloise trumpeted. All the elephants gathered round her. They formed a huge circle around Jerry, who was crouching next to a big watering trough. They dipped their trunks into the water. Just as the cats bounced across the field to find Jerry, the elephants lifted their trunks and squirted a shower of water at the cats.
Oh, my whiskers will wilt,
roared Leo the big lion.
All my spots will disappear and nobody will recognize me,
cried a leopard.
I'll fade until I look just like a mountain lion,
cried the big black panther.
We'll shrink until we look just like bobcats,
cried the mountain lions.
Wow! I'll shrink till I'm no bigger than a mouse,
wailed Tom. And dripping water, all the cats turned round and ran as fast as they could back across the field, leaving a wet trail behind them. Jerry watched them go. Then he brushed a drop of water from his nose and ran over to Eloise.
Thank you very much for saving me from Tom and all those lions and tigers.
Come on, hop on my trunk and run up and sit on my forehead.
So Jerry hopped on the trunk and ran up to Eloise's bald head. He held on tight, for the circus parade was about to begin, and Jerry didn't want to fall off. Of course, Eloise led the parade. Behind her came all the other elephants lumbering along, holding on to each other's tails with their trunks. Next came the white horses and the black horses and a string of frisky little ponies. Then came the other animals, the polar bear and the kangaroo and the aardvark, still trying to spell his name. It was the first time a mouse had ever been in a parade, and Jerry felt very important. As he rode along, he wondered about Tom and hoped he hadn't gotten too wet. But he didn't wonder hard, for after all, a mouse in a circus parade has enough to think about.